Oh, it's bloody freezing, Magsy, mate.
Well, sir, it is December, and there's no kind of heating here in the middle of Galilee. What the hell do you think we were meant to do?
Well, at least the beer will be chilled. Something to look forward to.
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
Sir, you are an alcoholic. Seriously. There's going to be no beer. We're staying in a fucking stable. We'll be lucky if we get to drink slops.
Yeah, okay. Fair point, fair point. Joseph is bloody miffed, mind. Rumour has it, mate. It's not even his kid. I bet he's a little bit miffed about that.
You think he's miffed? Miffed? Would you be miffed if the actual Lord himself came down and parked your missus and got her up the duff?
Oh, you can be as rude as you like with me.
And I heard he doesn't swing that way anyway. And why are we in a car now? Why are we not riding a donkey? That's ridiculous, sir.
Because, and that's kind of all I could come up with and find online to put in this section of the video. That's why.
You dumb motherfucker!
Yeah, I mean, your video editing, it is something to be desired. Do you know why Big Bastard Bob's driving? Do you think that this is every which way but loose and he's pretending to be Clive the Monkey? And you know he's been sniffing that Colombian marching powder again, don't you?
God damn it, Bob. Ho, 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 ho. Look at you, Magsy. Look at
Merry Christmas, one and all.
There's eyebrows and everything, my word. Look at that. You look wonderful, my friend.
Merry Christmas. Now, come and sit on my lap and tell me what you want.
Not to sit on your lap for a start. That is right. It is the Chain Wrestling Live Christmas special. We are back for one night only. Well, this year anyway, but more about that later on. Future of the show talk much later on. You see my cat behind me already being a pain in the ass, so I apologise for that. Before we dive in any further, Magsy, you got a fake beard on, but look at that. I've got my real beard and it's almost as white as yours. Look at this.
Who is this Mags you're on about? I am Father Christmas.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's me, really, folks. I didn't know for that intro video you were going to kill us off. This is a horrific mask. Yeah, I didn't realise we were going to be involved in a bloody car crash.
Yeah, I'm afraid so, mate. Drugs and driving, same as drink driving. Don't do it, kids.
Yeah.
And adults, to be fair. Probably adults is a more the pressing issue because they're the ones who have licenses, I suppose.
I mean, you haven't got a license either, though, so you be about
this is true.
As Bob.
This is true.
I'm not going all the way through the show with this beard. It's the most annoying beard in the world, and you can literally just pull it out.
You're going to keep the eyebrows.
They're staying on. They're glued on.
This is what you're going to look like at work going into like February.
Oh, bald when it rips all the hairs off.
It was a bit of a weird few minutes there, Mags, wasn't it? Because it's been a little while since we've done this.
Yeah, I was saying I'm getting a little bit nervous about coming back in the fall, whether we remember the run sheet or whatever, but I know we'll get back into it, especially with these lovely lot in the CWF.
That's it. I couldn't turn my light on, Mags, could I? And I was
playing around. You plugged in a VHS, didn't you, though? Because you thought
not a VHS. I plugged a black plug into the extension down here that I've got, thinking it was my light, and it didn't come on. So I'm messing around a bit, wondering what's going on. Look down there. There's a random DVD player whirring and firing up. I was like, oh, didn't know that was there. That's a bonus.
That's a Christmas present for you, an early Christmas present.
That's it. Merry Christmas to me. Indeed. And it is Christmas time. Well, nearly next week and a few days-ish. So this is our Chain Wrestling Live 2024 Christmas special. We have a Christmassy themed match. Not really, but it was out in December for us to look at later on. We have a Christmassy themed non-wrestling topic, of course. We have a little something else we're going to do Christmas themed as well, which I think is going to be quite fun when we get into it.
Which I have no knowledge about, so I'm not very impressed with that.
It's gonna be a giggle, mate. It's gonna be a bit of fun. It's gonna be a bit of fun. And you said you have a non-wrestling topic. Sorry, a Hall of Lame that is a bit Christmassy as well, didn't you? So
Well, no, it has absolutely nothing at all to do with Christmas. I don't know where you got that idea from. And
yeah,
I
okay.
don't even know if it's a real Hall of Lame. It's just something that's been
Hang on,
playing on my mind.
hang on. Didn't you write that in the description of the show?
I didn't say that was Christmassy. I said a Christmassy
Did you not?
NWT and
Oh,
a
that's why I'm getting
potential Hall of Lame.
confused.
Anyway,
My
we'll
bad.
get to that when we get to it. Don't
Yeah,
give the game
okay.
away yet.
No, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Fair enough. I suppose then it is that time. If I remember how to do this, we should start the show. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever and whenever you may be listening or watching from. This is Chain Wrestling Live, an SJP World Media Production, episode 165. I am Si, and with me, as always, as he sits there, stroking his beard, the Saint Nick to my grumpy prick, the Santa Claus to my probable male menopause, I think. That's how I feel sometimes. A podcaster who is always happy to empty his big sack, Lord Mags, or
Multiple
Lord
times a
Santa,
day.
I should say, 4 times a day. How are you, my friend? It's been a little while.
Yeah, it has. I'm good. I suppose we better do a little bit of explaining about why we've been away for
I
such a long time. So first of all, nothing went wrong with the old noggin. This was not a repeat of a couple of years ago where I went absolutely radio rental. Basically, I was going on holiday, and we would have been away for a week, and then the family decided that it was time we did a few jobs that the house needed doing and we've been putting off for a while, and that turned into essentially a full renovation of the house. So it was stripping down walls and taking up floorboards and things like that. And it's not exactly finished yet, but it's nearly there. And it's just one of those things that have taken a lot of time. And then there was a point where you were a little bit ill, and it just made sense to, instead of keep coming back for one show and then needing more time off and stuff like that, that we had that extended break, get a few things in order, come back for Christmas, and then with the whole switch to Netflix, decide the future of the show. But we will go into that a little bit later on.
Indeed. I'm still a bit poorly now, Magsy. I've still got a bit of a sore throat. You know, still a bit
Oh, don't
croaky and a
start
bit.
that coughing bullshit again.
No, my coughing's done with really, but I was so poorly this last week. I was off work for the last week. Charlie was poorly the week before. She was off school. Sharon's been poorly as well. My word, it's been rough. My throat, it's still sore now. Still really sore now. It's not fun, mate. It's not fun at all. I hate being poorly. You know, I know nobody enjoys being poorly, but I hate being poorly.
As COVID made a return down to the deep dark parts of Gloucester.
No, Sharon did mention this. I didn't actually test, but Sharon did mention this. There was a couple of days where I felt really, really bad. You know, so yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Charlie is not taking the blame. She says it was not her fault.
Aha, brilliant stuff. Shall we dive into the chat, actually? Look at that, already forgetting the order we do things in. Shall we dive into the chat and see who has joined us and who is here for our Christmas special, Mags?
Yes, we shall. So it starts off with the amazing, effervescent Sharon. She says, it's Monday night. Who knows what that means anymore? It means for one night only in 2024, we are back. And then maybe we'll be back again. We'll see.
Maybe.
Steve-O, aka Defco Dashcam. I got it right first time. I'm happy with that. Says evening. And then goes on to mock my effort. I mean, out of us two, who always makes the effort? Birthday episodes is me. Christmas, Halloween is me. Remember that time I had my face painted as Animal from the Legion of Doom and Sa just rocked up as normal? Yeah, I put in the effort. This guy does not give a shit.
I'm going to
Anyway,
randomly turn up as Hawk for an episode at some point. Just randomly do it and be like, "Oh, sorry,
and
I'm
I
a bit
will
late with this."
not acknowledge it. I'll just act like it's normal. Dan Griffin, hello to you, good sir. He says, "Good God, Mags looks like one of the fake Santas from David Tennant's first Doctor Who special." I mean, fake,
Oh
rude.
yeah,
I'm,
they were
I'm
quite they were
real.
cool villains. They were cool villains.
This is horrible. Never dress as a Santa with a beard. It's grim, absolutely grim. He also then says, "Evening, folks. Charlie, how are you? Hope you're having a good time." She says, "Hello." Dan then says, "Did it get significantly less weird when Sam put his trousers on? I believe he's trouserless now. I think he's just
No.
sat there in."
I'm wearing
You had to
pajama
check.
bottoms.
You had to
Yeah,
check, though. You had to look
well, no, I
down.
was wearing.
Am I wearing trousers? I am wearing
I've had
trousers.
to check what pajama bottoms I am wearing, and I'm wearing Pac-Man pajama bottoms. So
So not
there we
trousers
go.
then. They're not trousers, are
No,
they?
I suppose not.
Sharon saying Pix is hilarious. It's Pix is the cat.
She's there.
Look at
She's
her.
there.
Just mean mugging. And look in the
She's
background
all
as well.
calm now.
In the background, the cocaine sniffing, illegal driving, car crashing, horse murdering Bob. Sat there like
Horse murdering.
Hosts, us, the
Oh,
horse murdering.
I thought you
Meaning
said
they
horse
murdered a horse
murdering.
as well. I don't know what goes on down in Gloucester. That might be
Oh
a
dear.
regular occurrence. Dan Griffin says, "Just to restore some normality, nonce." Yeah, I mean,
That's sake.
and I don't have to do that if I ever say cunt, because it's already covered up.
Okay. 12 minutes in. Brilliant.
Dan says, I've started with a cough today and all. The next Doctor Who pod is going to be interesting. Oh dear. It'll be a 2-hour-long episode. And then Connor says, "Hello, you handsome gentlemen. It's nice to have you back. I've missed you both in the scenery." Do you know what, Connor? We've missed you as well. And if you be a good boy, you could make it onto my good list for Christmas this year. So think about
There's
that.
a thought for everyone. There's a thought for everyone involved.
Horrific, terrifying thought.
It is indeed. It is
And
indeed.
that's the chat all caught up.
Fantastic stuff, mate. Fantastic stuff. So where do you want to go first, Magsy? Is there anything you want to discuss, or do you want to jump straight into your your Hall of Fame fame, or what would you like to do?
Well, you've got this new thing. Would you say that goes before a Hall of Lame? Or...
We can do the new thing if you want, if you'd like to. There's a little jingle we can play.
Do you know? No, we'll go for the Hall of Lame first. We'll get it out of the way. Just because I need to mentally be prepared for your bullshit. So we'll go for the Hall of Lame.
The Hall of
Right, so
What have you got for us then, Magsy?
I put this as a Hall of Lame, but I'm actually a little bit confused whether it fits that category. It's certainly not a Hall of Fame. It's just something about modern wrestling that irks me, and I think with recent events it needs kind of highlighting. So I'm going to read out a list of wrestlers, and I want you to tell me what links them all together. So you've got Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Big E, Rey Fenix, Kenny Omega, Alexa Bliss, Eric from the Viking Raiders, Jeff Hardy, Dash Wilder, and Luke Harper.
Okay. You've kind of got me stumped, to be honest. Until the last handful of names, I'm not sure about their availability over the last year or two. But I was going to say, is it long-term injuries? But
well, it's injury adjacent. These are all wrestlers who have recently had their contracts extended, mainly for injuries, but also for a few other reasons. So they've basically had time added on to their contracts. Randy Orton, obviously, he was out for about a year with back and neck issues, and when he came back, that time was added onto his contract. Kofi was the same when he had to miss WrestleMania 39 with after having ankle surgery. Xavier Woods had about 18 months put onto his contract after multiple injuries over the past few years. Big E's contract was paused when he broke his neck in March 2022, and that missed time was added on to the end of his. Obviously, the big news story recently was Rey Fenix, who dislocated his elbow, was out for an extended period of time. He then came back and then got injured almost straight away, missed another 6 months, and AEW added a full year to his contract, meaning he can't join the WWE with his brother Penta. We've had Kenny Omega, who got diverticulitis, which meant he had to have surgery and rehab, and it's suggested he's had 9 months added to his contract. Alexa Bliss, she last wrestled in the 2023 Royal Rumble. She then went to have a baby, deal with all her post-pregnancy health issues, and also had a skin cancer removal, which was an absolute shocker. But she's had a significant chunk of time added to her contract. You've got Eric from the Viking Raiders, who had neck fusion surgery and was out of action until very recently when the War Raiders came back with their proper name instead of the Viking Raiders, and he had his contract extended. In 2019, Jeff Hardy wanted to leave the WWE, but they added time to his deal because of his injuries. And then they also triggered his 1 year extension, which essentially made him stay with the company for an extra 2 years. And then Dash Wilder and Luke Harper, their time was added due to injury, but it was only brought on because they both requested their releases. So it was a ploy to keep them in the company for a longer period. This isn't a new phenomenon. It's just a massive influx of reports regarding this. If you go back in the annals of wrestling history, Voices of Wrestling did an in-depth report around Daniel Bryan's issues when he wanted to leave WWE because they forced a retirement on him due to his neck injuries. They also talk about Rey Mysterio leaving in the WWE in 2015. He had originally his contract was up in 2014 and he wanted to be on the first season of Lucha Underground, but WWE added injury time onto his contract, which meant he couldn't be in that season of Lucha Underground. And they also got hold of some wrestler contracts because due to WWE being a publicly traded company, they have to put their financial accounts on available for public domain. And they brought up Stephanie McMahon's 2013 contract, and that had the paragraph in it that talks about adding extra time onto people's contracts, and it says verbatim, in the event that the wrestler is unable to wrestle for 6 consecutive weeks during the term of their agreement for any or no reason, including without limitation due to injury suffered whilst performing services at the company's direction, the promoter shall have the right to thereafter terminate the agreement, suspend the wrestler either with or without pay, or extend the term of the agreement for a period of time equal to the entire period of the inability to wrestle. And now, like I was saying, I don't know if this is a Hall of Lame. I mean, it feels like it should be, because you're basically tying wrestlers down to a contract when they could have ordinarily gone somewhere else and worked somewhere different, and it goes totally against this independent contractor thing. But then looking at it from the company's point of view, it is ensuring that they get the value for money that they're paying these wrestlers during the lifetime of the contract. The reason why I found it interesting is because what other job or career has this kind of clause in the contract? Even if you take into account other big sports, NBA, NFL, football, you never hear of contracts being extended because that person has been injured. And especially with football, how many times have you seen footballers injured for long, long periods and their contracts never get extended because of that injury time? It's just a kind of a weird thing in wrestling that doesn't happen anywhere else. So, yeah, this potential Hall of Lame is the extension of wrestlers' contracts because of things like injury.
Wrestlers' contracts in general could just get thrown into the Hall of Fame because
Yeah, I mean, don't
they're not
even
worth the
get me on
paper
that.
they're written on. Yeah, they're not worth the paper they're written on until it suits a certain party. They're nonsensical, aren't they, in general?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
totally get where you're coming from. Totally get where you're coming from, Max. It's at the same time, if those wrestlers were under contract for say a year and had no income, they'd then be complaining about it, wouldn't they?
Mhm.
So it's a very odd scenario. And again, I think wrestling, it has those little niches in the world of whether it's entertainment or sport or whichever way you bracket it with, of being quite unique with certain aspects of how it works, and sometimes not always strictly correct or legal as well, which I think you're going to get ramifications of going forward in the future, so potentially,
Yeah,
aren't we?
the
So,
legality has to be challenged, and these wrestlers don't have the finances or the legal manpower to do that.
well, no, there you go. There you go. Ah, well, yeah, a worthy shout into the Hall of Fame, I think, my friend. A worthy shout. Would you like a little bit of a Christmas quiz, Magsy?
No, not really. So
No?
we move on.
Let's not, because I put effort into this, you bastard. You criticise me when I don't. So, shall we play the little jingle first with the name of the quiz that you're going to be quizzed upon?
I shall.
That's right. It's Christmas ho 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 or Christmas no no no. Now, Magsy, everybody has traditions at Christmas, don't they? You know, whether it's just something as simple as seeing family, or if it's traditions that go back hundreds of years to do with your upbringing or your culture or your religion or
Go
whatever.
back hundreds of years to do with your upbringing.
Yeah. If you're brought up in a
Hundreds
different
of
country,
years.
you have different. Yeah, I'm not saying that, the hundreds of years can influence your upbringing, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Not that you're 100 years old or anything like that, my friend.
I'm immortal, clearly. Ho, ho, ho.
Of course. What I have for you now are 6 very quick little, shall we say, Christmas traditions from around the world, from varying different times and locations and so on. And it's quite simple, really. I just need you to decide if these traditions I read you are Christmas ho ho ho, as in they're true, or are they big fat filthy fucking lies, Magsy, and then Christmas no no no, and I have just fabricated them. Okay?
Let's go for it.
Okay. Shall I go in the order I've got them, or do you want to pick a number to vary it up?
So is it 1 to 6, I'm assuming?
1 to 6, yes.
I'll
Except
have,
number. Go on.
I'll have one big number and 5 small numbers.
Okay, brilliant. We'll start at the top then, shall we? Number 1. The name of this is Night of the Radishes. Now, Maxie, in Mexico, is there a Christmas radish carving tradition going back hundreds of years?
Radishes in Mexico.
Yep.
Now, I've always
They're long
thought
in the chat as well, by the way.
I've always thought of radish as a very British thing.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you never hear of them in any other cuisine apart from British. So I think there might be a little element of truth in that, but I don't think it's radishes. I think there is a carving tradition, but something else. So I'm going to say that's a no, no, no. Oh,
No,
Christmas,
no.
no. Yeah.
Magsy, I'm afraid you are incorrect. It's Christmas
Shock.
ho, ho, ho.
You
In
sad Mexican
Oaxaca,
bastards.
Mexico, there is a Christmas radish carving competition. Normally takes place on Christmas Eve, and it dates back to the early 1800s, Max. So yeah, radishes are quite small, aren't they?
Yeah. They're like big.
Yeah,
You usually put them in salads.
yeah. I quite like they got a bit of heat to them, haven't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, I like a radish, mate. I like a
They're
radish.
all right.
Mm,
They're a bit bland, but they're all right.
mm. Okay, no worries.
Anyway, fuck
Okay, then,
Mexico.
Maxi. Fuck Mexico. Yeah, there we go. That's a great start. Fuck Mexico. Up next, Magsy, we have the is this true or false? Is this ho 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 or no no no?
Okay.
The tradition of Iceland's broken toys, not the supermarket, the country. In Iceland, children leave broken toys in their shoes underneath their bedroom windows. If they have been good, the toys get replaced with new items on Christmas Eve night. Is that Christmas ho 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 or Christmas no no no?
It sounds like an amazing way to get kids into the spirit of Christmas. But the last one was true. So I'm gonna say no, but I want it to be true. So that's a ho ho no.
Okay, so a Christmas no. Magsy, you are correct. This is a Christmas no no no.
That should
Children
be
in Iceland.
the true one. That was really kind of like
Bear with me.
genuine.
Bear with me. Bear with me. Children in Iceland do not leave broken toys in their shoes underneath bedroom windows. In reality, children in Iceland leave rotting potatoes in their shoes outside their bedroom windows, and if they have been good, the brilliantly named Yuletide lads, yes, it's a real thing, will come along, take away their rotting potatoes, and leave presents instead. That's fantastic, isn't it?
That is cool. But I prefer the broken toy one to rotting potato.
Yeah, okay. Well, I made that up, so I'm fucking great. We shall go to Wales, Mr. Mags. Go to our
No,
neighbours, the
I've been there.
Welsh.
It's a shithole.
And again, play along at home. Wedding welly throwing in Wales. This goes
Yeah,
back hundreds and
true.
hundreds and hundreds of years. Single Welsh farm girls stand with their backs towards their fields and throw their farming footwear, doesn't necessarily have to be wellies, it can just be boots, whatever, but their farming footwear over their shoulder behind them. If the boot lands pointing towards the house toe first, then they will be married within the year. Lucky, lucky ladies. If the boot lands with the toe pointing out, or I suppose heel towards the house, it's another year of farm work for you, you single ugly bint. Magsy, is this a Christmas ho 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 or Christmas no no no?
That has 100% got to be true. The Welsh are dippy at the best of times. I think that's true. If your heel ends up facing away from the house, a spinster's laugh for thee. So it's a ho ho ho.
Very close, but it's a no no no.
Bollocks. That should be
This
a tradition
actually-
then, Welsh. Get on it.
This actually dates back hundreds and hundreds of years in Czechoslovakia, and it's not farm-based at all. It involves all women of all ages, and even includes people who work in offices and shops and retail roles, throwing their shoes out of the window to see which way it faces. That's batshit crazy, isn't it?
It is. It sounds more of a Yorkshire thing than a Czech thing, though.
Maybe. A couple of quick ones before we get to potentially my favourite. In Venezuela, Magsy, it is
Okay.
tradition to travel to morning mass on Christmas Day on roller skates. Is this a Christmas ho 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 or a Christmas no no no?
Well, Venezuela seems to me to be close to being a third world country.
Okay.
So I don't think roller
it's
skates
not,
have made.
but-
I don't think roller skates have made it to Venezuela. So I think that's ho ho no.
I'm afraid, Magsy, you're incorrect again. It's Christmas ho ho ho.
When was the roller skate invented? It can't be a tradition if it was done in like the last 30 years.
Well, anything you do every year is potentially a tradition, whether it goes back
No,
5
that's
years or 500
semantics.
years. But
That's
anyway,
semantics.
roller skates have been around for hundreds of years, and this is in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela, to the point where it's such a big deal, the police close the roads now so that people have free room to skate where they wish on their way to Christmas morning mass, which is fantastic, isn't it? What a
No,
glorious sight that must be, everyone skating towards
ridiculous.
church. No?
No, I'm not happy with that. Venezuela, you can join Mexico in fucking off.
Okie doke. Let's see if we can bin off any other countries. Catalonia. Is that actually a country or is that just a district? That's in Spain, isn't it?
It's a part of Spain. I think they keep fighting for their own like independence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This one I have here, the title, The Shitting Donald Trump.
True.
Cust-
I'm just
it's
don't
custom.
no more. You don't need to
No.
even entertain an explanation. It's true. You know he shot himself like literally last week in France.
Well,
in front
this
of
is
hundreds of people at the reopening of the Notre Dame church. All the famous world leaders were there, and he genuinely shot himself. And all the cameras were like focused on people behind him, like smelling him and holding the noses. Yeah, he's a scruffy, smelly bastard.
Did that actually happen? I've not seen that.
He genuinely shot himself. Look it up after the show.
I'm gonna. That's amazing. This is actually a reference to a supposed custom, ho ho ho, or no no no, you decide, for models to be made. And then during December, children fill the models with sweets and treats and bits of chocolate and nuts and so on. And then in the days building up to Christmas, they beat the crap out of their models they've made, and the treats fall out of the arse of what they've made. Hence the shitting aspect, and the kids get to eat the treats. Ho ho ho, or no no no.
So instead of a pinata, they're beating the shit out of an orange, smelly shithead. If it's not a tradition, it needs to start being one. So I'm going ho ho ho.
Amazingly, Magsy, you are correct.
Good.
In Catalonia, there is a tradition involving these small figurines that are called caganeres, I believe. If I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologise. And it goes back hundreds of years, and to the point now where they're sold in shops, because obviously Christmas is a big retail thing, isn't it? And the most popular caganere model in recent years is that of Donald Trump, and they beat the hell out of it, and all the sweets fall out of its arse. Indeed, indeed, and that's the first five. But this one now comes to potentially the most tricky of all. We're going back to Wales, Magsy, for the last one. Let's see if you can finish off on a strong note. Let's see if you can finish off on a strong note here. Wales. A ginger on Christmas Day is bad luck.
Yes. On any day, it's bad luck. You've just been dealt a bad hand if you're ginger.
Is it tradition in Wales and has been for hundreds of years potentially? If the first person through your door, so I suppose over the threshold of your house on Christmas morning, is a ginger man, this signals bad luck for the following year. Is that ho 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 or no no no?
What if your whole family is ginger? You can never see any of your family on Christmas Day. And what if they live with you and they went out on Christmas Eve night? I so want this to be a ho because fuck ginger people. Not literally,
Maxie, that's not fair. That's not very nice, Maxie. We've got no problem.
If you've been blessed with gingerness, you should not be allowed in a house at any time of the year. You should be sleeping in the barn. So I'm going to go with ho,
to
ho,
all
ho.
our ginger listeners. You're going Christmas ho ho ho, are you?
Yes. No gingers are allowed to cross thresholds in Wales on Christmas Day.
Oh dear. Well, Magsy, I'm afraid it's Christmas. No, no, no.
No, you're lying.
But on New Year's Day, this was the case for a long time, hundreds of years ago. The tradition would be in these Welsh
You
villages.
can stay for Christmas, but by New Year, you're gone.
The tradition was back in the day in these Welsh villages, hundreds of years ago, that it was good luck for you to walk through your own front door, crossing the threshold again, as they termed it in the thing I read, just after midnight, and it would welcome in good luck into your home if you were carrying certain items when you did this. So what would happen would be the last minute or two before midnight on New Year's Eve, people would leave their houses via the back doors, walk around their house, and then just after midnight, walk back through the front door and beckon in a good 12 months of good luck, a year of good luck, in theory. However, if a ginger person got there first and was the first person to walk through that threshold, the first person to cross your doorstep after midnight on New Year's Day, you were in for 12 months of horrific bad luck.
Oh, you'd
All
beat
legit
the
true.
living piss out of that ginger if they did that, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, though? You little ginger
It's all very true, mate. All of those there. There we go. Each one of those made me laugh, and I could have had another 10, but I thought
They
we're
were
going to be here
brilliant.
all night. But I thought they were very, very funny. Should we dive into the chat magazine and see what people think
I
of
feel
Christmas?
I
Ho,
may
ho,
have
ho, or
offended
Christmas?
some
No,
people.
no, no.
I feel I may have offended some, but anyway, we have Charlie saying typical Rey Mysterio getting injured.
Yeah.
I mean, he's actually not
Ray
been
Phoenix,
that bad.
she means.
Oh, Ray Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he got himself injured to go to WWE. It's quite clear, but now he has to stay for a full year of just sat on the sidelines in catering. Dan says, Orton, Kofi, Woods, Big E, Phoenix, Omega, Bliss, Eric, Jeff, dashing off have all at some point shit the bed. Yeah, absolutely. Sharon says she knows all the answers. Yeah, because you probably did the research, Sharon, and Sar's just reading them out.
Not at all.
Dan reckons the Iceland one is true. I mean, it should be, but I think getting rid of rotten potatoes is a happy medium.
The Yuletide lads as well. The Yuletide lads. That's genuinely the name of people who go around and do it.
Thugs, what would have been thugs in England, robbing people's presents, are going round in Iceland giving presents. Amazing. Really good.
They sound like the football hooligan firm from like Lapland FC or something, don't they?
Iceland have their own, and Lapland is in Norway for a kickoff.
Okay. I thought it was a strip bar, to be fair, but
I mean, you never know. There could be one. But yeah, Iceland have football teams. They've got a city, Reykjavik.
Yeah, I know. Of course, they've got a city. People don't just live in bushes, do they? It's not like a long line of hedgerows.
It's not like Gloucester or Wales. Yeah, they have civilization.
We chase the gingers away from our door.
Don't you come in here, you ginger bastard!
Not until January the 2nd.
The garage with you. Dan says, "Are they aiming for the bloke shagging sheep when they chuck the wellies into the field? If they were aiming, they wouldn't really have to put any effort in because it's just throw it anyway, and you're definitely going to hit a Welsh bloke tomming a sheep, aren't you?" So
fantastic. So that's several countries that we decided to bin off. The gingers we've insulted, and now we're being quite racist towards the Welsh.
What are they going to do? Come out during the day and scare us? Ooh, I'd get you, but I've got sunburn.
Okay.
Dan says Caracas sounds like slang for testicles. Yeah, sounds like the noise that testicles make when they bang against each other.
Well, yours made of wood.
Yeah, chestnuts they're made out of. Like
chestnuts, okay. For roasting on an open fire.
Sharon says, I'm currently ginger. I'm sorry that you are ginger.
It suits her, to be fair. It really does. It really suits her.
Does it? I mean, you have to say that because you have to face her after this show, but does ginger suit anyone?
My beard's quite ginger.
This will be the last episode that I ever record. I am not recording with a ginge. Dan says, I bet Postcodes goes around knocking on Welsh folks' doors and barging in just to fuck them over. Yeah. Shoulder barging the mums and dads out at way just to give every cunt bad luck. Sharon says, excuse me, our granddaughter has ginger in her hair too, but babies have the potential to change their hair colours. I mean, how many times have you seen a child with blonde hair and they end up having brown hair when they're older? Ginger, maybe start learning her to shave it now, so she's used to it. Anyway, you can get around having a ginger baby. Dye it now. It might take into the roots and it stick.
Take it to the roots. Yeah, because that's how it works.
Dan also says, I bet the Welsh that lived in Terry's houses were proper fucked off at that tradition, having to go back out. Yeah, why did they go out of the back door to come round in the front door? Where normally if you go out of a journey, you would go out the front door and then come back in the front door. Why did they have to go out the back, rock around the block, and then have to wait?
From what I can gather, it was to do with leaving via the back door was taking like all the bad luck and unwanted feelings from the previous 12 months out, and then you're going through the front door is the start of a new year, walking through the front of your house into your property, sort of thing. It's how I understood it anyway.
It is a stupid tradition, but yeah, I get it now. Anyway, that's why, Dan, because Welsh are they're special, aren't they? They're very special.
Anyway, thank you so much,
for
everybody
the
in the chat.
Ho.
Oh, dear me. Magsy, unless there's anything else you want to speak about or cover, I suppose we can dive on into our non-wrestling topic this week, can't we? This week. Well, our non-wrestling topic this Christmas, I suppose, for one of a better phrase.
Yeah. Well, non-wrestling topic then.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Non-wrestling topic time.
Good God Almighty, there will be no wrestling talk here. Business is about to pick up on chain wrestling. Side Lord Mags, please cut it out.
Are you sitting comfortably?
I realised that No Nonsense Chicken, which is what I've named the chicken, by the way, because it just looks like he takes no nonsense. No Nonsense Chicken turns up a lot on any videos we do. I'm quite fond of putting No Nonsense Chicken in our videos when I've had a few beers, aren't I?
It's almost like the chicken has become your signature.
Mm.
Like, you know this is a SAR video because A, the quality is horrific.
You
and
bastard.
B, there's always a random chicken in there.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got mascots, haven't we? We got that coke sniffing bear Bob. We got No Nonsense Chicken. He stands for no shit. There we go. Yes, our non-wrestling topic for this special random episode of Chain Wrestling for this year's Christmas is concerning Christmas and it's make presents. We asked on X for the best, worst, funniest, or favourite Christmas presents you've got, given, seen given, etc., etc. And maybe if anyone has any celebrity gifts, who would you give to? No, what would you give to who? In the world of celebrity, music, football, wrestling, whatever, the sillier the better. And we had a few shouts back, Magsy, didn't we? As we always do. God bless the people on Twitter. Thank you very much. I'll run through them in the order they came in. You've still got that beard on. I'm impressed. This is 45 minutes into the show and you're still wearing it.
It's so annoying. So the hair, it's essentially just threaded onto like a net. So the thin bits are in my mouth. They're tickling my nostrils. It's the worst fake beard I've ever worn.
Do you wear fake beards often?
Well, when you live in Burnley, it becomes a necessity.
Is it really? I don't understand why, but okay. I noticed about my. I pointed out all the grey in my beard earlier, and it is really substantial now. Because I've not dyed it in a long time, so it's really substantial the amount of grey in my beard.
I've not dyed in a long. You absolute vain fucker! I have not dyed my beard in such a long time.
Mate, I'm vain as fuck. I'm vain as fuck with stuff like that. I can't walk around with a belly this size and a beard going grey like that this time of year because people think I'm giving presents away, and it's not the case.
You give off a very Brian Blessed look.
People have said that before. People have said that before. I mean, on the similar note, by the way, the grey in your beard is looking on point, Maxie. Looking very good indeed.
Now, this got shaved last night for the first time in about 2 months, and it was fully grey there. Got these little Hulk Hogan things, and then grey there. So it's literally just the tash that stays brown. These bits and that.
It's like Scott Steiner-esque, isn't it? But
Well,
what I've noticed with mine
I
is
do model myself off Mr. Steiner.
I can see the similarities. What I noticed at certain times, today at work being one of them, is where my tash now is getting grey hair in it. I don't just get one grey hair and then a random grey hair, whatever. They grow in clumps. So I've got, as you can see, streaks of grey. Yeah, like your stripes of grey, yeah. And I've got a couple coming through in my tash now that are substantial stripes. The problem is the rest of my tash is not grey. So when the light hits it in a certain way, it looks like snot. And it's really, really embarrassing. And there's nothing I can do about it other than dye it, But this is a side effect I've only just noticed. So
you're looking like a husky zebra.
Husky zebra. Oh, that's fantastic. Shall we dive on in anyway after all that beard chat? We have, first of all, my partner from Nitro Nights, the wonderful Ben at Largely Speaking on Twitter.
Well, I've not got that one, so that's brilliant. Well done, Ben.
You've not got that one?
No, but go on.
It's not started well. Ben says...
When does it ever? Won't end well, folks, when you see what match we're watching.
I once gave someone an inflatable Rudolph head-mounted hoopla for Secret Santa. That went down well.
You absolute arsehole, Ben.
What? I don't know. What is
that? Hoopla where you throw rings at stuff. So I'm assuming it's a Rudolph with like antlers, and you throw hoops onto the antlers. What a shit gift, Ben. You are a terrible workmate.
Well, I think Ben tops his own shit gift here. Because the next thing he says was, and he describes it himself as a highlight with quotation marks around it. So he's obviously being sarcastic. He says that his nan once got him a desk tidy and a calendar of England's finest roses. That was a highlight, he says. Yeah, that's an interesting choice, isn't it? Are you sure that was meant for you? To the wrong person?
He got that from his own nan.
Yes.
He got a calendar of roses.
Yes.
I bet that was his. I mean, everybody gets like one good grandma and one that you can't stand, don't you? Like the bad grandma and good grandma. That must have been a gift from the bad grandma. The one you don't visit. The one that we're not going to that grandma, are we? Oh, no. She'll make me eat my broccoli.
Make me eat I like broccoli.
Oh, she'll make me eat my turnips then.
I quite like turnips too. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? What do you course you would? Roasted turnips? They're lovely, mate.
Aye, bloody hell, they're gorgeous.
Dan Griffin at Dan Griffin 21 on Twitter, my partner in time from the Doctor Who pod. He says, went through a phase.
What, there was a mirror then on the screen.
And look at that, Morty dressed up as Santa as well. My word.
Look at that.
Went through a phase. Are you gonna let me do this?
Yeah, go on. I'm not stopping you.
You kind of are.
Just chipping in.
Okay.
I'm just adding context for the audio listeners. They're not seeing what's on the screen, so I'm just explaining that it's Morty in a terrible Christmas hat and beard, not like mine, which is clearly movie quality.
Movie quality. Oh, mate. Dan Griffin, it says, went through a phase of being really into stand-up comedy. Parents had seen me watching Jimmy Carr's shows, and 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, etc.
Show ever.
So that Christmas, it's very good. That Christmas, he got an autobiography, but instead of Jimmy Carr's, they bought him Alan Carr's.
Oh, what a disappointment that would have been! Jesus.
He says it was a confusing one, but it was actually still a good read. Yeah, okay.
I mean, reading Jimmy Carr's Automatic Fame. That's going to be pretty fun. Alan Cars, though.
I'm not a big fan of
Yeah.
Alan Carr.
I don't mind him, but he's not as funny as Jimmy Carr.
No, I like Jimmy Carr.
And Jimmy Carr give you
Alan
tax tips as well.
Yeah, he will. Don't pay it and just try not to get caught. I suppose it'd be
Yeah,
one.
pretty much. Keep your tax money.
Jimmy Evans at Jimmy Evans for real. And Magsy, it's not one word again, which is nice, but it is straight to the point. He's very to the point. Jimmy doesn't fuck about, does he? He doesn't waste time.
No
He's got
context.
same as no nonsense chicken. Jimmy has got no time for bullshit. Jimmy says, best gift was my Nintendo Switch,
Yep.
which I'm
I mean,
assuming was a gift to him, as opposed to him giving it to somebody else.
yeah, but with Jimmy, you can never make that assumption.
This is true. We'll
He's
never
an
know.
enigma. He's
We will never know.
yeah, but I adore the fact he comes in, drops his bomb, and then off he goes. So I hope you enjoy that Switch. I've got a Switch. I think I've used it about 4 times. It just sits there. It's a kid's console, really, isn't it? But you enjoy it, Jimmy.
Charlie's got a Switch, yeah.
Yeah, Charlie, the child, Charlie.
Well, this is true, yes. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. MGB Graham at MGB Graham on Twitter or X or whatever. He says, said it before and we'll say it again. My mum bought me season one of Mrs. Brown's Boys to the States for me on DVD. As it's funny. In brackets, he writes her words, not mine. I refused to accept it, made her take it back. You have to draw the line in the sand somewhere, so she had to take it all the way back on the plane.
Added onto her baggage, so she couldn't take a gift home because she had to account for the weight of that horrific DVD.
Oh,
and
dear.
it's her own fault. Graham, I am proud of you for sticking to your guns because, and this is a little bit of context behind the scenes, I equated Sar's writing of the script for his intro video to Mrs. Brown's Boys, and I would rather watch an hour special of your intro than that shower of Shah. How it still survives now and they get a Christmas special every year is beyond me.
Like, was it ever funny? It must have been at some point, and then just turned into a parody of itself or something.
It was because it was new.
Right, okay.
But over the years, people have realised, yeah, it's the jokes are from the 80s. It's very old hat. It's just old comedy wrapped up in a bloke with a dress on, isn't it?
Yeah, and he is actually married to the blonde lass who plays his daughter. So that's a weird mind fuck there, isn't it?
A lot of his families are cast members as well. So his daughter in real life plays plays the wife of one of his sons in the show. Buster, I think, is his son. There's a lot. It's a very family oriented show. I know they've done like tours of Ireland for decades, absolute decades. So it must be still popular there, but they don't need to keep bringing it back every year. It got boring 10 years ago.
And to be fair, even great shows get boring and repetitive. I mean, look at Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, look at Doctor Who. Every Christmas episode of that it's shower shark now, isn't it?
Well, it's widely acknowledged as one of the greatest comedies ever made, isn't it? You know, from these supposed experts and fans and so on and so on. I mean, I always enjoyed watching it with my dad.
Don't ignore my Doctor Who slander.
I'll come back to that in a minute. Well, but they kept bringing it back, and it got to a point where the idea of it coming back for Christmas was great, but in practice, when it happened, it was like, oh, yeah. Same as
Shark.
Yeah, there you go. And what's the one that's happening this year? Gavin and Stacey. I hope that's going to be good because that'll be a real shame if that ends up being shite, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of James the Bell and Corden, but
no, not me.
With Gavin and Stacey, it stayed away long enough that you could reminisce about an end to the story. But with like Mrs. Brown's Boys and Doctor Who, it's just every year without fail, and it's there's no need for it.
Yeah. Like, with regards to Doctor Who, me and Dan tend to cover a Christmas episode of Doctor Who around this time of year, obviously being the Christmas special. And we have tended to find that the Christmas shows don't tend to hold up at all. They've not been very
Are they
good.
meant to though? Really? I mean, all jokes aside, New Who has been in part some brilliant writing, some great overarching storyline. But the Christmas episodes they're a bit of fun, aren't they? I mean, you do sometimes introduce huge plot points, but they are meant to be like almost fan service more than a regular episode, I suppose.
I'm worried this year, to be honest. I'm excited that we've got new Doctor Who on Christmas Day. I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I love sitting down with my wife and with Charlie to watch it. But I'm concerned because if I hate it, it's just going to really hammer another nail. It's going to hammer another nail into that coffin of I don't like this anymore. You know, maybe not. Don't like this because I do. I watch classic Who. I love that. I still watch some new Who and enjoy that. But the newest of Who, I'm not into at all. I struggle with it. So if the Christmas special sucks, it's like, okay, well, I've got a new series coming next year. Am I going to struggle with that? It's a shame for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of sounds like Nigel Farage, Tommy Robinson kind of speak. So you liked all the old Doctor Who, but when the Doctor was a woman and then a black bloke, you're like, no, that's not for me. That's not for me at all.
You absolute bastard. Not at all. I didn't mind Jodie Whittaker. I'm not a fan of Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. And it's got nothing to do with the colour of his skin, you prick. It's just I don't like. He cries too much for a start. But anyway, you can hear about all this on the Doctor Who pod. Let's not get bogged down with that now.
No, let's get into it. I think he's the best Doctor that there's been in New Who.
Do you really? Yeah.
No, I've not watched a single episode of him.
It's not. Sharon in the chat there saying,
you can't top 10 and Matt Smith for me. I mean,
very true.
If they brought Christopher Eccleston back, that I think he was low-key one of the best.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah.
I don't know enough of this guy, and I'm not that interested.
Far too much crying and calling everyone babes. That's enough for me. Anyway. Anyway, what do we have next? Where are we? Here we go. We have Glenn Abbott at GA WrestleNut on Twitter. Love Glenn, absolute legend. He says, worst or funniest Christmas present to my parents from a multi-million-pound brewery company was a picture of the late Queen from 1977, given to them in 1992.
A 15-year-old picture. Absolute wrong'uns. A multi-million-pound brewery company as well. Yep. Who do you reckon it is? Who do you reckon the shithouse brewery is? I bet it's Twins.
Heineken.
No, they're German though. What would they do carrying a fucking multiple pictures of the Queen from 1977?
Well, wasn't she German?
Well, no, she. Oh yeah, she's German, and Philip was Greek, wasn't he?
Something like that.
It could be Heineken. I reckon it's Twits though. They seem like the kind of shithouse brewery. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking into like drinks that we used to have that don't exist anymore, but like not the bottles of stuff like Mets or anything like that, but pints, proper like Castlemaine 4X. Yeah, Castlemaine 4X just doesn't exist in this country anymore. But it used to be everywhere.
I'm sure I've seen it.
McEwen's as well, like McEwen's Ale and McEwen's Lagers.
With the kind of like cowboy character. Yeah. Dry Blackthorn. You don't see that around.
No, that's true.
White Lightning. Can't get that on tap anymore.
Could you ever get it on tap?
No, I hope not. Jesus, that was like paint stripper.
You used to be able to buy it in, like the bottles of Bud size bottles, like the 330, the glass, yeah?
What, White Lightning?
Yeah, you used to be able to buy it in the pub by my school.
Jesus.
in proper glass bottles behind the bar. Yeah.
Dirty, cheap paint stripper cider in glass bottles.
Yeah, the white
If that's
side
not
of it.
coming in a 3-litre bottle for £2, then it shouldn't be sold.
Nasty.
No one's going into
Nasty.
step away in a pub watching the football. Oh, I'll have a bottle of White Lightning, please, love. Who does that? What absolutely wrong
did.
thing does that?
We did.
Jesus.
We did. Glenn continues. A celebrity gift would be a bag of horse shit to Piers Morgan because that's all that comes out of his mouth.
Or a bullet. A bullet. Oh, you can't really say that nowadays, can you? Yeah, a bag of horse shit, that's fine. Yeah, he's a twat. Piers Morgan is he's one of the biggest imports Britain have sent to America in years. And he represents us, and he's just a wanker in it. Just a human shit stain.
He's a horrible, horrible person. Up next, and I think not lastly, because we do have something via WhatsApp as well. That's not come for us on Twitter, but we have Steve-O at EliteFBL_Steve-O. And Steve-O says, firstly, welcome back. Thank you, Steve-O. Thank you so much. It's nice to be back.
Appreciate it.
Like Mags, I have no interest in Christmas, and sadly most blur into one because of my work life. I've always worked it, so I'm certain it adds weight to why I have zero memories. The one celebrity I'd give a present to is Sam Thompson. I only know of him as while I've been away at my mum's, she watches daytime TV. So celebrity, deal or no deal, it was on the television, and Sam was on there. I'd happily give him a box where Lenny McLean jumps out and batters him. If you don't know Lenny, it's Barry the Baptist of Lockstock. Okay? I don't know who Sam Thompson is. Who's Sam Thompson?
It's called Sam Robert DeCourcy Thompson. So already he's a twat, isn't it?
Already a dick, yeah.
But apparently he was in a program called Made in Chelsea. And then after that, he's done the celebrity round where he's been in Celebrity Big Brother, Celebrity SAS, Celebrity Court Strip, Celebs Go Dated. Oh, he's just a reality TV knobhead. So yeah, right. He deserves whatever Steve-O dishes out. Lenny McLean, the governor, just snap his fingers off.
I don't remember. I've seen Lockstock. I remember really enjoying it, but I don't remember that character.
Right. So the main baddie who ran the pawn shop.
Right.
Lenny McLean was his enforcer who went round threatening to snap people's fingers off. He didn't owe money. He ends up getting shot by the two Scousers.
Okay. I'm going to have to rewatch that film. It's been so long since I've seen it.
You see him halfway through. They give him an intro where he's drowning someone in a barrel because he owes money. You will know him.
I'll go back and check that out. Okay then. And we come to WhatsApp to close out our non-wrestling topic, Magsy. The lovely pick of Morty as Father Christmas again there. Fantastic stuff.
The staring of his eyes, though. Do you not find that unsettling?
Yeah, I'm used to it, though.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Whenever I get pictures from Mort, it's like, normally he's naked, to be fair. Or he's got that Christmas hat
and berries out
around his balls, yeah. Just standing there, hands on his hips.
And pubeless as well. Like, fully shaved. Don't make him look any bigger, though.
Fully shaved apart from a fake Santa beard around his ballsack. And then he has those eyes just staring at you.
Oh, what a horrific...
I don't know what he expects me to send back, but there we go. Matt Lewis on WhatsApp, he says, non-wrestling topic. Firstly, apologies for my absence in the chat. As you may know from listening to Good Cop, Bad Cop this week, I'm on my 6th straight day of 13-hour shifts, and I'll be catching up on VOD Squad, video on demand, in brackets he's put.
Matt, you didn't have to describe. You didn't have to tell us what it means. We understand. We're not. We may look old, but we are down with the kids.
Well, no, I got questions.
One of us knows what you're on about then. The other one is a
Right.
simpleton.
Because he said this before, VOD squad, VOD squad, or whatever it is. And it's obviously via video on demand, right?
Yes.
But what's the VOD squad? Is that because when he first said that, I thought this was a new show of his.
So, have you ever seen the film Mean Girls?
No.
And
Don't think so.
this is not going to mean anything to you, but I'm sure Sharon's seen it. Dan has probably got it on DVD. So there's a character that tries to introduce a new catchphrase. She tries to introduce the word "fetch" to mean something. So everyone uses that word,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
Matt doing his Mean Girl impression. He's trying to make the VOD squad a thing.
That's
it's
why I
not
don't
going to be a
understand
thing, Matt. Matt, you're 40 years old, mate. Stop trying to make VOD squad a thing.
it. Just let it go now. And we're going to steal it and make t-shirts. No, we're not. No, we're not.
There, the two people who I would have banked money on have seen Mean Girls. Sharon, I've not seen it. Dan, I've never seen Mean Girls. And I thought they were cool. Clearly not.
Do you like Mean Girls, Max?
I've seen it. I mean, it's not on my regular watch list, but it's a good film.
Okay. Okie doke. Matt continues. Best Christmas present ever has to be when he's not just going to say I'm not watching the show tonight. That would have been a really shit response to a non-wrestling topic, wouldn't it?
But expected from Matt.
Best Christmas present ever has to be when my brother James got me tickets for Russell Howard's tour back in 2013 for the March of 2014. Best part is on the day of the show, we got a free upgrade to a box. Worst
That's
present,
amazing.
Great stuff, yeah. Worst present, I've mentioned this before on other shows, but it's worth mentioning here. My arsehole of a father decided one year to wrap up some of his car boot stock to bulk out the presents.
Brilliant.
I know needs must sometimes, but one of the individual ones we opened was a packet of those hole punch reinforcement rings.
Those little holes that come on a roll and you pull them off.
Oh, dear me.
Classy from your dad there. I mean, even if you're going through your stock that you can't flog on a car boot, there'd be certain things you go, is this something you could give to someone you love on Christmas Day?
Yeah. Will
Matt appreciate this roll of holes to strengthen his paper? Is he going to look at these and go, what an amazing, what a thoughtful gift. Everyone's got me stuff that I really will enjoy, but my dad's got me something practical that I will get years and years of use out of. So the moral of the story is, Matt, don't be ungrateful and just find a use for those hole punch reinforcers.
Matt continues and says, it's still talked about with regards to what a cunt he is. Yes, I said it. I don't care. Lol, Matt says.
I hope you cooled your mouth before saying it like that, though.
Hopefully so.
I definitely did not.
I did not. I'm too busy trying to read. Funniest one had to be last year. In our Secret Santa we had in the family, we themed it most bizarre gift for under a tenner. That is Christmas themed. I received an inflatable Jesus. Oh my word.
Amazing.
An inflatable Jesus. He had like one of those red balls in his mouth and the leather straps across him. One of those jobs. Yeah.
Naked inflatable Jesus.
Indeed.
With his cock out.
Well, normally if you're naked, that's what happens. It will make an appearance on the volley after Christmas, I promise. The inflatable Jesus, not anyone's cock.
I don't know.
Is what Matt's saying.
On the volley, Matt's cock has been shown a few times.
It has not. I've missed this, and this has gone on. We're not that kind of channel. And at present, a present I would give a celebrity, Matt says. I mean Hook, Finn Balor. I'll leave it to your own imagination. You dirty little bastard.
Hook's about 11 years old.
I think he's
Oh,
older than 11.
not far off.
14 or something.
Yeah, and Finn's what? Rocking on 45. Mad.
Scope.
Yeah, he's touching all bases.
Or trying to.
Yeah, he's going to put a good effort in touching those bases anyway.
He finishes off by saying, "Happy Christmas, guys. I love you both and the CWF dearly. And we love you too, Matt. Thank you
We
very, very
absolutely
much, my
do.
friend."
Thank you so much, Matt, for playing
Indeed.
along.
There we go. Sharon has messaged me as well, saying that Sam won I'm a Celebrity the year Tony Benn.
Way, look at me,
Right.
bothered.
So in that case, no, she sent that to us because I now know who that is then.
I've seen him just when I searched him up. I've never seen him before. I would not care if I ever saw him again.
Okay. Well,
From that one view of him, I think he's a prick.
okay. Just making an assumption on appearances,
Yeah,
first impressions and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. As you should, as everybody should. Judge
And
your
that should
book.
just happen in life.
Judge your book by its cover. That's the saying.
It is close. It virtually means the same thing. Yeah, there we go. Maxie, what about your good self? Do you have any presents for celebrities or good, bad presents?
Presents for celebrities, a lot. Some of them I probably couldn't say on air without being sued. In terms of normal Christmas presents, I hate Christmas. I've made that abundantly clear. I don't know why this has come off because I detest Christmas. If I want something, I do not wait to that day to get it. I'll get it when I want. The only thing I ever ask for from the family is a bit of peace and quiet. Never get that. They always have to be loud, noisy fuckers. So, yeah, I hate Christmas with all my being, but I do enjoy seeing the smiles on the face from the grandkids. So there is that.
Okay.
Celebrities. Now, what knobheads would I give presents to? Donald Trump. He could have early death. I'd give him a heart attack. I mean, he's probably going to give it himself with the amount of McDonald's he eats, but he can have a heart attack. Any conservatives, they can have the same. In fact, no, they can have a shit on the doorstep, a flaming bag of shit on their doorstep. Nigel Farage, yeah, have a flaming bag of Donald Trump shit on their doorstep. Then Nigel Farage, he can have his whole street being all the houses taken up by immigrants. Because that'll be a fun time for him, won't it? Everybody he hates in the world living across the road from him. Is there any nice celebrities knocking about who deserve something good? No, fuck them. They've got lots and lots of money. So, what about you, Sam? Have you got any amazing gifts that you've been given? Maybe some that you were given early and you opened on the day that it arrived? Anything like that?
Well, yes, Maxie. Yes, I was going to bring this
Oh,
up.
well.
I was gifted a rather beautiful replica NWA television title belt, which is actually in its case. It came in a bag, a proper belt bag, sealed and wrapped. And
I mean, did it?
Yes, it did. I've repackaged it all back up in that way to look after it until I can find somewhere to hang it properly on display and so on. But it is glorious. I love it so much. And the thing that surprises me the most is how fucking heavy it is. It's insanely heavy.
That's because it weren't a replica. That was the real one.
The real one that Arn Anderson held.
Arn Anderson personally gave it to me and said, "Pass this to Sahar." And then he got his Glock out and went pop, pop, pop in my head.
Pop, pop, pop. Fucking hell.
No, good. I actually I took so long picking that present because I want gonna get a little bit sappy now, but over these years you've been an absolute rock for me and I've massively appreciated it. Even when I went off the rails You were always there checking in on me, supporting me. So I wanted to give you a little bit of appreciation. So I wanted something that would mean a lot to you. And I know you like the old black and white style of wrestling. Unfortunately, I couldn't get hold of a WWF title. That was as far back as I could find one. But it's a really, I just knew it'd be something that you would appreciate. So
Very
I
much,
was
very
more than
much
happy
indeed.
to get that.
I've hugely appreciate it. Thank you so much, Max. As I said,
We need some
when
pictures
I
of it
opened it,
on the old Twitter.
yeah,
Once
I
you're
will do.
actually opening it on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's so cool. It's so cool. But there we go, mate. There we go. I suppose I've given some good presents as well. I mean, the first Christmas that after Charlie was born, I cooked Christmas dinner for Sharon. That was a wonderful present for
So
her.
you gave her the joy of food poisoning.
I cooked Christmas dinner, and I'll
Did
tell
she
you what,
really enjoy that turkey toaster?
it was well, it was one of those $1.99 microwave turkey meals you get from Iceland.
That has
No, I cooked
zero
a proper
turkey
Christmas
in it.
dinner, mate. Cooked proper Christmas dinner. I did. Yeah, for me, Sharon, the kids, and all that, and it was so good. I've not done it again since because every year Sharon tries to beat it, and she's never quite matched me
Okay.
yet.
And have you offered to
Oh yeah, I've
cook?
offered. I've
And
offered.
she's gone, "Oh, no,
No, sorry,
no,
no.
no,
I can't
sir.
contain that. No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Brilliant.
uh, yeah, there we go then, mate. There we go. So, Christmas talk, I suppose, is kind of over. Shall we?
Is it?
Oh, hang on, hang on. I've got one present I would buy someone. I'd buy Lex Luger a Cornish pasty because we messaged him on Twitter the other day. It turns out he's never had a Cornish pasty before.
He actually answered. Was it the real Lex Luger that answered you?
Yeah, yeah, Luger's. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure you could send him one. Might be a bit stale by the time it gets to him.
yeah, yeah.
But
So Luger getting a Cornish pasty, I think, would be a nice surprise for
well,
him on Christmas. He doesn't need to look after himself so much anymore, does he?
he's knocking on heaven's door, you know.
He's doing well though. He's walking about a bit more now and
Yeah,
stuff. And
I saw like the stuff with DDP. He said he's back walking and stuff like that. If there is anyone who deserves a present, and to get, it's DDP. That guy is amazing. The amount of people he's touched their lives and made them better. I mean, Jake the Snake. I mean, the wonders he worked with Scott Hall before his untimely passing. The guy has saved so many people. Yeah, so he could get whatever he wanted for Christmas.
without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. So yes, there we go then. I suppose are we going to talk a bit of wrestling now? Or are we going to dive through the chat?
Well, let's go through the chat because there's a few comments. So Dan Griffin says, "How badly do you have to piss off your nan to get something like that regifted?" Yeah, is that the photo? What we're on about his nan?
It was a desk tidy and
Desk
rose.
tidy,
Yeah, a
yeah.
rose calendar.
That nan would have been accidentally falling down the stairs. Put some marbles at the top of the stairs.
For goodness
Or-
sake, move on.
Or like mess with a stand of stair lift with a screwdriver.
Move on.
Okay. Dan Griffin says Jimmy Carr's autobiography was just tax dodging tips, whereas Alan Carr's included some good bits about his dad being a scout for Newcastle. Oh, that didn't know that. Well, very interesting.
Yeah.
Charlie says she doesn't use her Switch very much. Well,
No,
why don't
she
you,
had a
Charlie, after listening to all the comments, re-gift it to your dad as a present? Don't cost
I
you
called
no.
Doctor Who game that Dan Griffin sent her that she played. She enjoyed that for a while, but she completed it. So
There you go, and then you could complete it. That'd be fun.
I probably wouldn't be able to. I'll get my hair off. I'll probably die on like level 1 or something.
Dan says he uses his Switch when traveling. It's great to pass the time, and that's why I bought the adapter for my PlayStation controller so I can play PS5 on the go. That's much better.
Okay.
Dan says if Buster is his son and Kathy is his wife, it makes Buster constantly trying to shed Kathy very, very weird. Yeah, because that's essentially his stepmom. So Buster trying to get it in with Cafe is trying to tickle his stepmom's bits.
Okay. It's all a bit
Round-
strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sharon says, "What time is Doctor Who on? The Ravens kick off at 6."
You know what? You don't like the Ravens. Well, I'm not saying you don't like the Ravens. They're not your team. Sorry, but no.
Dan says it's on about 6. And he
Yeah.
says he likes the look of this Doctor Who Christmas special from the trailers. Yeah, they're deceiving those trailers. They put all the best bits in, and then you've got 85 minutes of bollocks to watch.
Bollocks.
Sharon says, looks like Sam might be watching it on Boxing Day then. Or you could just maybe not watch the Ravens.
Yeah, there's that.
And
There
it's
is
2
that.
on 1 here. Charlie says she's not waiting until Boxing Day.
Good girl, Charlie.
Sharon puts the foot down. Unlucky Bubba. Dan then says he used to drink cider at uni that was cheaper than White Lightning. Crumpton Oaks.
I remember Crompton Oaks.
It sounds like a fake name. £2.30
Yeah,
now for 2 litres in 2008. Oh,
but it weren't like a rough white cider though. Crompton Oaks. It was.
Did it at least pretend to have apples in?
Yeah. I mean, it was still rough and woof, but yeah.
So rough as in like the old English cider style.
Yeah. My cat's going crazy here because my wife has just bought me a cup of tea. So she's meowing like mad. I want a slice of cake. Thank you, Shireen.
Is it
There we
coffee
go.
cake?
It's not. It's banana cake that Sharon and Liv have just made.
Oh,
So interesting. That's what.
That's a word. Interesting. Sharon has said, for the record, except for Dirty Dancing, she doesn't do chick flicks. That's fair. I mean, Dirty Dancing is not a brilliant film as well. So Dan agrees. He says Dirty Dancing is a nonsense because it is. Because putting Baby in the corner
On the dodgy side.
Putting Baby in the corner is not Patrick Swayze's business, is it? Because she is a child and he is a full-grown noncy man. So wrong. Can't even argue that, says Sharon. And then she says, I've had so many drugs in my system. Drugs. I couldn't have. Oh, when you were made to eat Sar's Christmas meal.
She had Charlie a couple of days before my C-section.
Yeah, and so you had to cook Christmas dinner. If it had been maybe
a fucking good job.
4 days, you would have let her cook that dinner, wouldn't you?
No.
Give over, man. If the stitches had started to come out, you'd have happily sat and watched your poor wife cook that Christmas dinner.
Not at all. I did a fucking good job.
No, I'm not denying you think you did a good job. That's not under dispute. What I'm saying is there was definitely a very significant cutoff point where you would have gone, is this too early for me to get my newly birthing wife to cook this Christmas dinner? Oh, I'm going to have to cook it, aren't I? And the closer it was getting to Christmas, she was like, I hope today's the day that she gives birth. And then when it got to like the 23rd, you're like, fuck, I have to do this, don't I? Fucking hate Christmas. Does that sound true?
Maybe. It's not far off, to be fair.
Dan says, I can't believe Mags is fucking big timing about his portable PS5. Not missed this shit at all. It's not big timing. It cost me £10. It wasn't one of those PlayStation Portal things. It's literally you put your controller in your phone in this contraption and you play PlayStation over the Wi-Fi, over the net. So it's not big time. It's advanced, Dan. Get one. And then finally, Sharon says, is that banana bread good? So,
this is bloody lovely. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I mean, he was eating it whilst laughing, which is high praise. That is the cat all caught up.
Fantastic stuff. Magsy, shall we, for the first time in quite a while, talk a bit of wrestling?
No, I think we should, as it's Christmas, leave it there and move on.
I reckon that's a
The
good
wrestling.
shout, though.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Sorry.
Gob full of cake, sir.
That video came back a lot quicker than I anticipated. I got a big mouthful of cake. So professional, aren't we? We are so professional.
It's Christmas.
dear
You've
me.
got to cut us a bit of slack.
Indeed. I was going to say match that won the poll, but that's not accurate. Match that.
This is non-canon, folks. This is like a Doctor Who Christmas special. Nothing that you watch in this episode will ever be, one, brought up again, and two, relevant to the next episode.
Pretend it never happened.
Yes. It's like, imagine The Simpsons. Each story is just its own world, and then they reset and they go back. That's what we're doing for this episode.
Yeah, kind of. We are heading back to the December of 2006 and an ECW WWE version of ECW pay-per-view. And the main event of that show, the Extreme Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
It's not got a good reputation, Maxie, has it?
I mean, that's mainly down to it being shit, isn't it? Really.
That is true, yes. I think that does play a part in why people think it's shit.
But now, rewatching it some 18 years after the fact, or whatever it is, however long, it's not as shit as I remember it.
Okay.
It's still shit, but I think it gets a bad press because of the booking rather than the action.
Okay.
Although the action is still quite shit.
I think, well, similar to you, I remember watching this at the time and hating it more than I hated it watching it back today.
Yes.
But I then tried to
still
place
hated it.
myself. I then tried to place myself back in 2006 and what we were kind of hoping would happen and what we were promised going into the show. And then what we got. Watching the match out of context like we have today, I don't think gives us enough background, I suppose, for how pissed off people were with how shit this was. Because people paid money for this. People paid their hard-earned money to go and watch this. Well, not many, let's be honest. But
it's not only the fact that they paid for it, they paid full price. The show was about half an hour shorter than it actually should have been. It came a week after a WWE pay-per-view, and then a week before another one. So there was 3 pay-per-views in a 4-week span, all full price, and this was the turd in the punch bowl.
Indeed. Well, Elimination Chamber, everyone's familiar with how that works by now, I'm sure. Big cage, pods on the outside, people will get counted down and come in at random intervals and so on. This one is slightly different because in each pod, in each plastic chamber, each wrestler has a weapon with them that they can bring into the match as well. A bit of an interesting concept. Yeah, if they choose. Yeah. Bit of an interesting idea there, I think, Maxie. Bit of a different twist on an old match type. Well, not even that old. How old would it have been here? 4 years old, the Elimination Chamber?
I think so. It's just making it extreme, I suppose, because it is ECW.
Indeed. Your commentary team are Joey Styles and Taz. I'm a big fan of Joey Styles. I really like Joey Styles. Taz, I find very up and down. He's either really, really good or he just kind of fucking annoys me.
Mm-hmm. I get that. His AEW stuff absolutely pisses me off because he acts like he's just doing a watch along on a YouTube channel. It doesn't give it the seriousness that it deserves. Here, I don't think he's too bad. There is a few spots where there's absolutely no commentary whatsoever. None of the guys are talking, and that dead air is quite jarring, especially when you're coming from watching WWE for a long time, where the commentators very rarely stop to tell you what's going on. So that was a bit, like I said, jarring. I don't think there's much chemistry between Joey Styles and Taz.
Yeah.
But Taz doesn't annoy me as much back then than he does now.
Okay, fair enough. Going into this match, obviously this is ECW, but the WWE version of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's already been flogged to death. It's already been pissed all over by McMahon and the WWE. There was still some fans like that were holding on to the last little tiny scrapes of the original ECW being involved, the likes of Rob Van Dam, who was in a program at the time. His storyline was chasing the ECW World title. He'd been held down by the heel Paul Heyman, quite an interesting dynamic considering their history in the past. Sabu was supposed to be involved in this match as well, so that adds a little bit more of the original ECW vibe, I guess.
So let's just get on to Sabu. Sabu is advertised for this match, and the storyline going into it was that Paul Heyman wanted Hardcore Holly in the match, but Sabu qualified, and he's taken out backstage by a mysterious attacker. He's getting loaded onto a stretcher, getting a neck brace on, and then they cut to a match, and then 15 minutes later they go back and Sabu's still getting loaded into this ambulance, potentially broken neck, potentially life-threatening injuries, and they wait till the end of a match to go back to him being shipped off to hospital. Ridiculous. Terrible booking.
Yes, indeed. So you've had Sabu took out of the equation. The pay-per-view is already also full of WWE guys and wrestlers and gimmicks and storylines, but it's not main event of Monday Night Raw storylines. It's not the top title on SmackDown storylines. This is like velocity level guys. This is people who you wouldn't necessarily expect to see on a pay-per-view. Maybe I'm being harsh to certain aspects, but the general vibe was, if you're sort of grouping the whole lot together, that was that kind of feeling there. It doesn't help, of course, whenever you have these multi-man main events. So Jim Crockett Promotions, the NWA, and especially WCW when they got into that territory in the 90s, were that their undercards of pay-per-views were really harmed when you would have a War Games match or something like that in the main event. 92 being the perfect example, you had the whole, basically the whole of the roster, anyone who could work was in the War Games match. Mm-hmm. And all the relevant storylines went into the War Games match. The undercard was then very weak, by maybe one or two matches. Here it suffers even more so because of that, I believe. You're losing so much star power for the rest of the show.
Yeah, you've got the likes of Matt Striker getting a PPV match. Sylvester Turkar, who remembers that fucker getting a pay-per-view match? Yeah, it showed just how little effort WWE put into keeping ECW alive, and you could tell there were backstage tensions between how this show was booked. Paul Heyman comes out and does the introduction to the chamber, and his comments show that he's not happy with how this pay-per-view has gone. He talks about Hogan, the saying your prayers and drink your vitamins, eat your vitamins thing will die when Hogan dies. He says that the woos will die when Ric Flair dies. But he says ECW will live on past him dying. which was quite a veiled comment on how this ECW was being killed.
Yes.
And it was only after the show that we found out just how killed it would be, because this would be the last pay-per-view that they do on the ECW. Paul Heyman is then stripped of any power that he had in ECW. He's actually sent home after a day after this show, because him and Vince McMahon clashed so much on the booking of this actual match. It was just an absolute shit show where Vince McMahon was so out of touch with what his audience wanted, and thinking he can dictate who the fans get behind, and it just wasn't happening.
I mean, the perfect example of that is the two, I suppose, biggest names in this match. I think it's fairly safe to say, with Rob Van Dam and CM Punk. I think those two guys are.
I mean, I think biggest names, I would say no. I think Big Show is probably the biggest name in the match in terms of wrestling, of the wrestling world. Not the best wrestlers. I mean, the fans were massively behind Rob Van Dam. I get that. And CM Punk was quickly a fan favorite in ECW. And he was the crux of the argument that Vince and Paul Heyman had, because Paul wanted to push CM Punk to the moon, which in hindsight for ECW, he fits in there like a glove.
Yeah.
But Vince was so adamant that he wanted essentially WWE guys to be pushed as the faces of ECW, the likes of Big Show, the likes of Bobby Lashley. He wanted this to be a springboard for Bobby Lashley to be a big star. But that's not what this audience wanted. This ECW audience don't want WWE style wrestling. They want ECW style wrestling. They want CM Punk style wrestling. They want Sabu style wrestling. And that's why the crowd are so angry when Sabu gets took out. You can hear him shouting bullshit and this is bollocks. When CM Punk's comes to the ring, the cheers are massive. When he gets eliminated, the crowd shit on the rest of the match. And when we get to the end, and obviously we're going to talk about it in depth, the crowd hate it. They hate it with a passion, because it's not ECW. This is something you could have watched a week ago on the WWF pay-per-view, and it was the death knell for this company, because Vince couldn't take the advice of someone who knew what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. With regards to the Big Show and RVD and Punk and so on, what we were talking about then, I didn't mean at this moment in time in 2006. I meant
no.
now
I
in present
understand
day.
what you meant.
Yeah.
But Big Show was the big name, I think, in this match.
At the top, yeah. Okay. We begin with, like I said, Hardcore Holly coming in for Sabu. So straight away, it's not great, is it?
Yeah.
Holly begins with RVD for the first 5 minutes, and not a great deal happens. There's a cool spot with Rob Van Dam, though, when he's thrown towards the steel cage and he lands on it, and Taz goes mad calling him Spider-Man. But it reminded me of, do you remember Street Fighter 2 and the Spanish guy with the claw in his hand, Vega?
Yeah.
And you used to be able to get him to climb the cage, didn't you? It reminded me of that. But it was a cool look, though, wasn't it, Max? It was a good little spot, that.
I mean, this kind of match it's bread and butter for someone of RVD's talents.
Yeah.
He could make countless spots using the Elimination Chamber, and it's just a shame they didn't use him to his full effectiveness, I suppose.
Yeah. Falco Holly tries to come off the top rope to the outside. It looks like shit, as you can imagine.
Yes.
RVD then does a rolling thunder, though, across the ring and then over the top. I keep saying to the outside, but of course, the cage is in such a way with the Elimination Chamber where it's level with the actual ring apron itself.
Yeah.
So, but you know what I'm getting at.
But
Again,
it's 10
pretty
tons
cool
of
spot.
steel, though, so it's
Yeah,
backbreaking.
well, we'll get to talking about the steel chains shortly.
Mm.
Taz then mentions that all this stuff that's in the chambers with them, we've got a table in with Lashley, we've got a baseball bat coming in barbed wire in with the Big Show. CM Punk's got a chair in with him, and Test had a crowbar, I think,
Yeah.
in his. But Taz declares that the biggest weapon of all is the chamber itself.
Mm.
And I think, no, Taz, the biggest weapon of all is the person who's booked this shit. He is the
Vincent
biggest weapon
Kennedy
by a
McMahon.
fucking mile.
He is a fucking weapon.
Yes, indeed. CM Punk and the chair come in, and we get some unprotected chair shots, which I suppose leans into what people want from that ECW crowd, that ECW
Yeah,
vibe. It was a bit uncomfortable,
again,
but it was okay.
we've mentioned these before. It's a product of their time. Now we know a lot more about head injuries and
Yes,
CTE.
yes.
But the crowd absolutely went mental for CM Punk. He
Yeah.
was their chosen one. Ugh.
Yeah.
And he starts off
Indeed.
so hot. Like I said, he does the chair shots, the turning RVD is moving to a leg drop, where he kind of starts with the going with the roundhouse kick and then trying the sweep, and CM Punk is able to put that into a leg drop onto the chair. Really well done. The use of the chair in this couple of minutes when we see Van Dam and Punk go at it, really clever, really intelligent, to the point where Van Dam is all busted up. His head goes. Punk puts the chair in between the ropes, so Van Dam's head goes through the chair, which I thought was a really good spot. And then Punk slams down on the legs of the chair, which makes it kind of bend onto RVD's neck. I thought really good spots, really clever use of the chair, and it just showed how good these two wrestlers were together. Some really good chemistry.
Great, like you said, Maxie, we're into these two guys.
Yeah.
With Sabu not being involved, I don't think he would have lasted long in the match anyway, knowing Sabu at this particular time in his career.
He
He
killed
would
himself.
work with short matches, and yeah. Test enters with his crowbar, and he scraps around for a little bit with everyone else before all of a sudden we get a 5-star frog splash from RVD. He pins CM Punk, and Punk is out of here completely out of the blue.
And
And the
the
fans
crowd
are not happy
fucking
at
hated
all.
it. I mean, that is petty booking from Vince McMahon, knowing that this was the guy that that Paul Heyman wanted to push. Quite rightly, he should have been the guy. But how petty of Vince McMahon. No, Paul, we're not pushing CM Punk. In fact, he's going out first. What a child. And it ruined the rest of the match.
Not with that, though. People were pissed off.
Yeah, the crowd is absolutely dead. You've lost one of the more innovative wrestlers in the ring, and you have now got one wrestler who could make some memorable spots, and then 4 WWF lumps in a
Yes,
cage.
indeed.
It was just nonsensical. I get not wanting Punk to win. That's Vince's prerogative. But at least keep him in for the spots, because now you've got one guy who can do the spots and then 4 punch, kick guys. Ridiculous booking.
Speaking of punch, kick, we get a kick in the way of a big boot from Test, don't we? On Hardcore Holly. And then he pins him, but he doesn't. But Holly kicks out, but he doesn't. The ref gets to 3, but then he gets to 2.
This
what
whole spot was
fuck
ridiculous.
Was this?
Yeah, it was ridiculous because Hardcore Holly and Test were the muscle for Paul Heyman. So they were kind of on the same page. Test looks like he's setting up RVD for the big boot, which absolutely would make sense. but then decides to boot Holly, which looked clunky because Hardcore Holly was pretty close to him, so there's no kind of like acceleration in the move. Then Hardcore is pinned. The ref counts to 2, but then says it's 3. Hardcore Holly just rolls out. The bell doesn't ring. We don't get an announcement, and it's just it looks awkward, especially coming off 10, 15 seconds since the first pin, where the crowd had all the air sucked out of the room. Then to do this Billy Bollocks, it's no wonder this was the death knell of the company.
Yeah, it was an absolute mess, wasn't it? An absolute mess. RVD, it gets to the top of the chamber at this stage, and the Big Show grabs his feet, which I liked because it had been quite straightforward for RVD to get to the top of the chamber and do his move. It's good that the person in the pod is interfering, because that's what would happen in real life. Then Test climbs to the top of the same chamber and hits an elbow drop from the top of the chamber down to the ring. And okay, it wasn't as spectacular as some other guys might have done, but I was actually quite impressed by this, Max. It was quite a visual for me.
Yeah, I mean, Test has always been a guy for me who had the potential to be bigger than he ever was.
Yes.
He could move in the ring. He didn't have the best wrestling style. He certainly didn't have a lot of charisma, but there was something there about him that probably could be molded. And the fact that at 6'4", he was able to do this move. Yeah, there was something there. He's a wrestler who could go on the list of what might have happened if he hadn't passed away. But good on him for trying to make use of the cage, which is not something that we see much more of in this match.
Yeah, well, yeah. From that move, though, oh my word, Test pins RVD, and now he is out. So you've lost Sabu.
That's ECW dead.
Yeah.
Right there, that's the death of ECW.
You've lost Sabu before the match. You've lost Punk very early on when the fans wanted Punk. And then you've lost Rob Van Dam, who was in this sort of mini TV story of chasing the belts. He's gone early as well. And it leaves you with Bobby Lashley, the Big Show, and Test.
3 WWF meatheads.
Yeah. The crowd are chanting bullshit at this point.
And what makes it even worse is that he pinned RVD and there was 45 seconds left to go. So we had 45 seconds of nothing, just so we can percolate the fact that the two most talented, gifted wrestlers, the two most innovative wrestlers in this match are gone. And now we're going to see punch, kick, clotheslines for the rest of the match. And we got just enough time to digest that before one of the lumps come into the ring.
In comes Bobby Lashley.
Does
he tries to. He gets stopped by Paul Heyman's security, and then he uses the table that is in his chamber with him to smash through the steel chains. Now, bear in mind, this is a WWF table that breaks when you look at it.
A pasting table, essentially. A table you would use
to put
wallpaper on. Yeah. It's able to cut through steel chain in the roof of his pod.
God, it's so bad.
And even when that happens, clearly those chains are made out of putty and certainly aren't 10 ton of steel. But even when that happens, Test, who has a crowbar, decides to back off and let Bobby Lashley climb up and out of the pod, that rather than stay there and attack him with the crowbar. It's just nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. Ridiculous.
Absolute bullshit. Test is in control for a little while, though, before Bobby Lashley kicks a chair into his face. mounts a bit of a comeback, hitting some big power clotheslines, and he's doing the standard babyface firing up kind of thing
Yeah.
to absolutely no crowd reaction whatsoever until we start getting the odd little boring chants starting in a couple of different locations. Test gets hit with a spear, and he's pinned and he's out. Completely out of the blue in a way. It felt
And we
like
get another full minute of
yeah.
one person in the cell, in the chamber, on their own. The fucking ridiculous. What an absolute waste of booking time.
See, I don't know because I agree with you. This is bullshit when we're watching it. But if you've got somebody with charisma, somebody who knows what they're doing, and somebody the crowd are behind in this role, it could be fantastic television. Think about Brock Lesnar and Steve Austin in the Royal Rumble when they were throwing people out and waiting for the next person to come in the respective years they did that. It worked, and it was great television.
Because the crowd had a connection to that wrestler.
Exactly. You think about CM Punk when he was doing the same thing and would go back and get the microphone again and cut a promo in between people coming in. The whole thing that Heyman wanted to do with this Elimination Chamber, apparently, is have Punk go for everybody. He was going to beat everybody and be in this scenario waiting for the next person to come in and then make them submit, and then make them submit, and then make them submit.
He wanted CM Punk to eliminate Big Show first. So
Yes.
no matter what happened, he knew that there was the excitement of a new champion.
And think how over. I mean, Punk was over anyway at this stage. But think how that would have sent him into the next level in one night. What that would have done. And then you look at Lashley stood here, who, regardless of how athletically impressive he is, regardless of how good a worker he can be on his day, he's got no charisma whatsoever. He just stood there looking kind of lost, waiting for the Big Show. He throws a table at the Big Show's pod, and the Big Show just stands there looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Makes Lashley the baby. It makes Lashley the Big Show should either sell it and jump backwards and go, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble," or Lashley should never throw the table. Because what's happened there is Lashley's thrown the table. The Big Show, the big nasty heel, has non-sold it, and it made your babyface look weak and look stupid. And then he does exactly the same thing with a chair. And again, Lashley looks stupid. It's just, oh dear me.
And then we, if you take a step back and look at the big picture of this match, the last 15 to 20 minutes of it have been absolutely irrelevant because Lashley's story was that Paul Heyman and the Big Show screwed him out of the title. So the 4 eliminations we've just had may as well have not happened, and we've got a singles match between Bobby Lashley and Big Show that goes less than 5 minutes. It's shit booking. It's just dog shit booking by a vindictive Vince McMahon who didn't like to hear other people's ideas.
Exactly. We get a very small but very distinctive chant for TNA at this point. I enjoyed that as well. That made me smile. The Big Show has a bit of a bleed. He wobbles about a little bit as well. This isn't the Big Show in great physical condition.
Oh, he's the big fat show. He's massive.
Yes. And he's obviously, this is the period in his career when he's struggling with his knees as well. You can tell by the way he's moving. There's something not quite right there.
Then on the flip side, this is the Big Show that Vince McMahon had pushed as ECW champion.
Yeah.
This is the Big Show that wanted to put CM Punk over and felt that CM Punk was the correct choice to be champion, and Vince absolutely went the opposite way. And this is the Big Show that he looks like a giant pussy in this 4 minutes that he's in the ring. This is your world champion. This is the top dog, the top of the mountain in ECW. And Lashley essentially runs through him in 4 minutes.
Oh dear. I mean, there is a cool spot in here when the Big Show goes for a choke slam. And Lashley is a big fella, and he's up very, very high, and he counters it into a DDT.
Yeah.
That looked very good. I did enjoy that.
That was
and And then Lashley hits one spear, and it's 1, 2, 3, and it's over. And nobody really fucking cared.
No. I mean, they stopped caring once Punk left. I mean, no disrespect to RVD. He tried to keep the torch of ECW going for the next few minutes, but this match ended as a contest when Punk left.
Yes, indeed. Out of 10 then, Magsy? What are you thinking?
Again, I didn't hate it as much as I hated it at the time, but I still did hate it. And I think it's for different reasons. I hated it at the time because it felt like ECW was just becoming WWF 3.0.
Yep.
I hated it now because I can see why Paul Heyman was so adamant that CM Punk was the future of ECW. Imagine how different the wrestling world would be. How different ECW would have been. ECW could have had a chance with the likes of CM Punk as the champion because he fits that mindset of ECW. So I hate it because it killed ECW. So it gets a 1. I can't go any higher than a 1.
Okay.
I mean, in 2006, you have a main event in ECW where the two people who look most like an ECW wrestler are eliminated early. You've got Hardcore fucking Holly, who, why he was even in this is absolutely mind-boggling. And you've got the Big Show, who looked like a massive balloon, and Bobby Lashley, who has the charisma of a wet lettuce as the people at the head of this company. Yeah, it's scandalous that this happened to ECW, so it gets a fucking 1.
Yes, fair enough. Before I give my mark, very quickly, you mentioning about CM Punk could have been this, could have been that, and so on. Obviously, he goes on to be one of the biggest stars in the business, of course, but have you ever listened to Bruce Pritchard's podcast about CM Punk's WWE run?
I think I may have done, but it was
It's quite a few years
while
old
ago.
now, but
Yeah.
one of those ones who breaks down their whole career and so on. And he said that Punk ended up actually being hurt by Heyman because Heyman was such a strong voice for Punk.
Yeah.
He'd bring him up in every booking meeting to the point where Vince just got sick of hearing his name.
Yeah.
And it actually became a
like
negative to see
a
him
millstone around his neck. Yeah.
Having Heyman as endorsing him so much. But anyway, I feel I might have been a bit generous then with you giving it a 1 because I've got a 2.5 out of 10.
You are generous. You might want to knock that down a little bit.
Maybe. I look at it and I think RVD did some cool stuff. I loved the DDT by Lashley out of the choke slam spot. That was cool. Punk looked good as he tends to do. It was okay. I mean, the guys in their defense, they're working hard. They're doing their best they can with what limitations they have. But it was still fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this as the end of ECW because I believe ECW died a fucking long time before this.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
was already written off, you know?
Yeah, but at least it would have had more of a chance under that WWE umbrella. If Vince would have just not got involved. He owned the rights to it. I get that, but leave it to the ECW crowd were not the WWE crowd. They were not the WCW crowd. These were an entity in their own bubble. If you're going to rebrand ECW, leave it to people who understand the market. Vince did not understand these wrestling fans. He did not understand this market. He just looked at this as I can get opportunities to push wrestlers who Raw or SmackDown don't need. And that's where it went wrong. He treated it as an extension of Raw and an extension of SmackDown rather than its own entity.
playing devil's advocate, and it's probably a conversation that we can dive into more in depth on another day. But ECW famously never ran out of profit.
No.
They never made money. Depending on who you listen to and who you believe, the WWF and Vince McMahon were sending it checks all the time, many years before this to keep it afloat. It was territory. Okay, it had a TV deal, but it was very niche. It was very in its own market. It wasn't a big touring company. It didn't travel the whole of the United States or anything like that. Would a profitable ECW be possible in 2004, 2005, 2006? Considering it, even when it was at its creative peak, it never made a profit. And with Vince McMahon, he's not going to run it as a local territory. He's going to want a touring brand. So changes to the format would have had to have been made. Does that make sense? I'm not agreeing with it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying it should have happened. But I'm just kind of saying that it's easy to go, he destroyed this, he destroyed that. Vince McMahon, I mean, and the guy's a piece of shit, of course he is. But realistically, again, I enjoy a lot of what ECW did and ECW stood for. But I also think people look back on it with rose-tinted glasses, and think it was a bigger, better deal than it actually was. And I think Paul Heyman's done a very good job of putting a positive spin on that.
I get your points, and it's going to be one of those things that we never know because it never came to pass. But if you use WWE's infrastructure, the way that they build and advertise shows, the production values, I think a lot of that goes towards making this a success, because the old ECW had poor production. They had a TV deal, but they were on an arse o'clock, never got advertised. So people didn't know that they were there till after the fact. With WWE, they would have had national TV, heavily advertised, arena shows around the country, so they could attract potential audiences. So whilst I'm not saying it would have happened, the possibility was there for it to be a success. But once it got bastardized into WWE Light, which happened early on, let's not beat around the bush. When when you open your first show with a zombie and one of your characters is a vampire, you aren't going to have much of a chance. But if it would have been in the same ethos as the original ECW, where it almost felt like these were real people, not characters, these were just real wrestlers, real people you could relate to on the streets in a wrestling company, I think that had more potential to be big if they had the opportunity to go national and international. But Vince clearly didn't see that, and it was more about owning the property than giving the company a chance to thrive.
Yeah, right, fair enough. I don't think it ever would have.
Yeah, I mean,
again, we'll never know. But you look at other companies that have done that. ECW is far more than just a hardcore company. I appreciate that, but you look at other companies that cater for that niche. They're never going to get some big national touring arenas level, even now. And numerous companies have tried since ECW have ended. That's what happened. And of course, you look at AEW. They've got production levels. They're touring arenas. The crowds aren't coming for them. Obviously, there's lots more going on with that as well, but there's money in that company. I just think that this was doomed to fail from the fucking off, really.
But then you look at one of the spiritual successors to ECW in GCW. That's a profitable company that attracts a decent audience.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying,
and it's still going. Yeah. So whilst you may be correct that this this version of ECW was doomed and it was never going to be a success. I think it was more hamstrung with the way that Vince wanted it promoted.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. There we go. Well, I didn't expect to get into that aspect of ECW this evening, but that's what happens on this show, isn't it? That's the way things work sometimes. Normally, this time of the evening on our weekly normal shows, or every other week, or whatever it may well drop, we would normally then throw to our links to the next match in the chain. And I love the fact that we can start on episode 1, those many, many years ago, and go all the way through and literally follow the chain all the way from the first episode through all the others. It's wonderful. But this is a standalone special because we've been away for a few weeks and it's Christmas time, etc., etc. So we're not going to link to anything, are we, Magsy? Because we need to discuss what's going to happen with the show going forward. Now, I know people have been wanting to hear this directly from us. People have been asking, are we coming back regularly? People have been asking, is the show gone? Is it dead? Are we done? So, yeah, do you want to put forward what we've been discussing?
Yeah, so as many people will know, in very early January, WWE are closing the network, which to be quite fair, is 90, at least 90% of where we get the matches to review from. So that's a real kind of big obstacle been put in the way of the show. If we can't get the matches to link to it, it really makes linking each show much more difficult. So unfortunately, we've got some bad news for you listeners. We're keeping going. We're not going away. So you're going to have to keep watching us. Yes, we may not be able to rely on the network as a source of the content, but we are going to have Netflix. So there is some content going on there, and hopefully it'll be drip fed pretty frequently, and we'll get some matches. But we are nothing if we are not imaginative with the way we link to matches, so we can get as tenuous as we can, and we can also then kind of lean on other sources for matches. We've been doing it recently with the likes of TNA, and then next week's match, which was already booked, the Bret Hart versus Macho Man Hidden Classic. That's not on the network. That's a YouTube match. So we're going to be a bit more imaginative with the matches that we pick and with where we get them from. But we are definitely sticking around and we'll be coming at you in 2025 like Cleopatra. So I think we'll be back on the 6th of
Cleopatra.
What a throwback word.
That is.
Yeah,
wow.
So we will be back on the 6th of January, so we'll let you have your Christmas. We won't be the ginger that walks over your threshold on New Year's Day. We'll let you have a jolly holidays, and we'll come back on the 6th, and we'll get the ball rolling again and go back to the link that you guys picked many moons ago for Bret Hart versus Macho Man. I'm sure Sal will provide a link so you can have a watch along.
So we're back on the 6th, are we? Because that's news to me, that part.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did discuss that with you. Yeah, we're going to come back on the 6th. It makes sense. The first Monday after New Year.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. Yes. The one thing that we did kind of say, talking in private, Magsy, wasn't it, that what is great about this show is that there are people who watch the matches along with us, and some people even watch both options and then vote for what they want us to talk about, and so on. So the biggest thing that we're going to try and make sure continues is the accessibility, I guess, for everybody. It can't be, oh, I've got a DVD of this particular match that no one else will get to fucking see. I'm gonna link to it.
The disgusting irony that you are keeping Natural Nights going by getting hold of a load of dodgy DVDs so you can watch said show.
Well, we don't know what's going to happen exactly with that yet, but that, maybe. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It needs to be for chain wrestling accessible to everyone. So it's even more imperative, it's even more important now that people are following us on our socials, and they're all the same, at chain_wrestling, on whatever format, Facebook, X, etc., etc., etc. Following us there, because that's where, if matches are on YouTube or whatever, it makes it so much easier for you, because we will post the links there for you to watch the matches. You haven't got to go searching for whatever. And doing this show is something I love. I know it's something that Magsy loves. Spending time with Magsy on a Monday evening is fantastic. And of course, everyone in the CWF as well. It's a fantastic community we've built. We want that to continue. And having the wrestling and the non-wrestling topic and everything else so accessible to everyone is what makes this show what it is. We say it all the time. This show is your show. If we're now linking to matches that you can't watch, it's no good. So we're going to make it as accessible to you as possible and have it out there on our socials. Links to the matches as clear as day. And if anyone has any suggestions, I would like you to cover this match, and you send us a link. Maybe one of us could link to it in the future. Who knows? There's always options there, Max, isn't there?
There absolutely is. So yeah, the long and short of it is, this show is not ending. We're kicking the shit out of the format of the show till basically it's dead. So we will definitely be back in 2025.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a chance, to be fair, that we've now lasted longer than the place that I stole the format from in the first place has lasted. So,
Probably.
well done us.
It certainly lasted longer than ECW.
Maxie, I'm kind of done. Is there anything in the chat for us to look at?
Probably just Dan. Yeah, shock. Yeah, it is. Taking a break from the chain like we did when I popped in for an episode. Yeah, you are allowed non-canon episodes. That they're allowed, Dan. So it's absolutely fine. So it says random December matches of years past. I forgot happened. TLC 2015. The Wyatt family took on Bubba Ray, Devon, Rano, and Dreamer in an elimination tables match. I mean, that could be a link for a future episode, Dan.
Sorry, I got a mouthful of banana bread again. Sorry.
Shock. Just professional. Dan then also says, Test had all the raw materials to be a major player in WWE. Just never got it refined. Ironically, he could have used a mouthpiece like him. And yeah, spot on. And then he also says, this was Big Slow, not Big Show. And I think it's the worst. When The Rock was calling him the Big Slow and Shane McMahon were calling him Big Slow. This is worse than them times. He's not in shape whatsoever. Like I said, his knees are fucked. He
always hated working out, didn't he?
Yeah, he's very rotund, and it's a good job he was last out of the pods because he would not have made a 20-minute match in this period at all. And then last one, and probably most poignant, Sai has a mouthful of banana. There we go. What a great comment to end on.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's it then for this special. As Magsy has said, we will return in 2025 in January, picking up the chain where we left off. But again, just look on our social medias for more information about when, what time, where, and what we're covering. I'll post the crap out of it so everyone's fully aware. Make sure you're coming along, joining in, getting in the chat, or listening to the podcast version that is out, or as always, later in the week by SJP World Media. That's kind of it. The only thing left to say really is Merry Christmas, Magsy. Merry Christmas, everyone in the chat.
No socials at all.
I've done all that, haven't
I? Well, I've not done mine anyway. You can follow me down here, and if you're listening, it's on X at PodFarmerMags. Is it? I think so. On TikTok, it's PodFarmerMags. No, it's not. It's PodFarmerMags on X. PodFarmerMags on TikTok. He's there. SJP World Media. He also runs. If you search his podcast, he's got an account for those podcasts. He just is mental. He's got a Nitro Nights one, Doctor Who pod, some other stuff. Benny Mac's got a load of stuff as well, so check him out. Morty, he's probably doing some podcasts on this show. Who knows? The Volley, definitely watch the Volley because we're getting into that Christmas period of football, so that's fun, isn't it? Follow SJP World Media. Follow Sharon Corrier 13, because she's way more intelligent than any of us. That's it. We're out, motherfuckers. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas.
And also, I hope a ginger walks over Barry Windham's threshold. Bye, folks.